Ladies and gentlemen, I'm back with the Wrestling Matters podcast. Hope you guys are well. And it's official, ladies and gentlemen. We are back with the Wrestling Matters podcast. Back to basics, ladies and gentlemen. I told you I was going to bring it back full time. I had a lot of thinking to do over the Christmas period. And I'm back. That's right. On a weekly basis, every Monday like normal. Except it's going to be a little bit different this time around. It's going to be a little bit different this time around. I will be doing, like I said, I did bring it back on a part-time basis. I'm going to be doing video, as you can see right now. If you're watching this via the video link or the video form, you'll be seeing me in this right now through the camera. Or there's going to be an audio version of it. So there's a webcam version or video cam version, or in this case, my game cam version. You'll be seeing me, hello, or you'll be seeing me or hearing me on the audio versions, and I'll be putting them up on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. I will not be bothering with bullshit sites that give me no credibility whatsoever, like the SoundClouds or anything like that. I'm done with them. Twitch, Facebook, YouTube. That's where you're going to get, until further notice at least. Yes, I will be back, and I'll be talking about the best in professional wrestling, ladies and gentlemen. At least try to. So, like I say, it is going to be on a weekly basis. It is back to normal every Monday like it was before. And, yeah, it's good to be back. It really is. Like I say, guys, for those of you that don't know, cut a long story short, if I can. I did this for 3 years back in the day. Due to personal matters, my father dying and everything, I decided to take a sabbatical. Because when I was, on the day my father died, I was getting ready to do a show. I had a show planned and everything. I was going to do a New Japan Pro Wrestling show. And, yeah, my father died, and I just ripped it up and everything. I didn't go away because of all the other garbage that was going on at that particular point in time, which has been resolved and everything, but I didn't go away from that. But I went away because of my parents and everything. And like I said, when my dad died, the last thing I wanted to do was a podcast. Yeah, the last thing I wanted to do was a podcast. So I'm back to normal. I'm back here. And I'm going to talk about the best in professional wrestling. I'm going to talk about 2020 as well. 2020 in respects of the wrestling in general. Of the wrestling business in general from 2020. What's gone on, all the good points, all the bad points, all the shocking points, and everything. And try and go from there, basically, as well. So, yeah, 2020. What a shit year. What an absolute torrid year. All started well, and then the pandemic kicked in. Boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy, did we go down the path of whatever. I mean, good grief. 1 minute, we're all talking about WrestleMania. You know, AEW was around and everything, and we're all talking about WrestleMania being put forward or put back to summer, which was fucking ridiculous. And then we eventually went through with WrestleMania at the Performance Center and everything, and it just went on from there. And I have to say, ladies and gentlemen, full credit to WWE and to AEW as well, for keeping the flow going in terms of the wrestling business and giving us their brand of wrestling as well. So full credit to them both for going for doing what they have done. Whether you've liked it or hated it, full credit to what they've done as well to keep this thing going. SmackDown and Raw still remains the same, unfortunately. Yeah, still remains the same. WWE eventually ended up going to the Thunderdome, where they can have the fans back in, but all via, like I'm doing right now. So, yeah, It was just crazy. Crazy year all around. Some great matches in WWE, some great stuff. I don't care what anyone says. You know, WWE is WWE. I'm done yelling about it. Yes, it had some worse moments. I will say that. Horrible moments. Moments I'd rather forget. But yeah, at one point this year, they had the greatest the greatest wrestling match in history, with Edge and Orton. Yes, probably the best moment of this year in 2020 was Edge coming back at Royal Rumble. But Edge and Orton, the greatest wrestling match in history, or the greatest wrestling match in history, whatever the hell that was. No, just ridiculous. That was an insult to all the previous other great wrestling matches that have been down the road. Example, Ricky Steamboat, Randy Savage. That was just an insult to them, to be honest with you. Nothing against Randy Orton and Edge. Nothing against them at all. But, really? Seriously? I could watch that match right now and go back and watch better wrestling matches, quite frankly. It just didn't make any sense to book it that way. It just did not make any sense whatsoever to book it that way. The greatest wrestling match in wrestling history. Or whatever the hell that slogan was. Okay. Good thing about this year in WWE is finally Drew McIntyre got what he deserved. And that is to be WWE champion. He lost the title to Orton, I believe was at Hell in the Cell, and then got it back a couple of weeks later. Because apparently they wanted him to drop the title and then have it go back on Raw and then win it back on Raw in front of a crowd, if you can call it a crowd. You know, the Thunderdome and everything, which was just ridiculous, to be honest with you. They should have waited until that. We should have kept it going for another year until the crowd get back in and then maybe drop the title and have him win it back in front of a crowd. But he did win the Rumble, which was... People gave a lot of stick about the Royal Rumble this year. I actually thought it was decent. It wasn't the greatest Royal Rumble. It wasn't the best Royal Rumble. But it was decent, I thought. You know, everybody hated the Brock Lesnar demolishing 15 wrestlers before Drew came out and kicked his head off with a little help from Ricochet. I actually enjoyed that. I thought it was great. There wasn't, you know, there was no qualms about that whatsoever from my point of view. I mean, I really enjoyed that. Watching Brock beat the hell out of everybody and then get his butt whooped or get his head took off by Drew McIntyre. I actually enjoyed that. I very much enjoyed that. But yes, Drew McIntyre got what he deserved this year, and rightly so. It was long overdue, but he did deserve it. He did deserve to be WWE champion, and he's been a great champion ever since. Yes, he's lost it once to Orton, but he's got it back now, and as I'm talking about this, he is still your WWE champion. What they're going to do with him going into the new year, into 2021, I have no clue. Apparently, he's going to be facing Sheamus or Keith Lee. To be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if they put this whole thing with Sheamus, because I've seen some booking from somebody, I think it was JD from New York, who did this, and an interesting thing they were going with Sheamus and that. You know, Sheamus facing Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania this year. You know, considering what they've gone, because they are best of friends, or they have been best friends and everything like that, but at some point, Sheamus turns on him, and then maybe they go to WrestleMania. It's an interesting thought. I mean, I wouldn't mind saying it, to be honest with you, but yeah. Interesting what they're going to do as well. Apparently, Daniel Bryan has entered the Royal Rumble. I tell you what's going to be crazy seeing the Royal Rumble in the Thunderdome. It's going to be crazy this year seeing the Royal Rumble in the Thunderdome. But that's the back end of January, which I'm very much looking forward to. I always look forward to the Royal Rumbles. Another moments of 2020 has to be the New Day. Saying goodbye to the New Day. The New Day pretty much went bye-bye. I think they had the draft, and then Stephanie came out and put Kofi and Xavier Woods on Raw. and kept Big E on SmackDown. We all knew it was going to happen. It was just a case of when. And it was shocking to me, that. I don't know why they still call Kofi and Xavier Woods the New Day still. I guess it's the tag team version of it now. They are not the Raw Tag Team Champions. They were the World Tag Team Champions going into... What a surprise, they put the belts on them again. But this was before Survivor Series. And they put the belts on Kofi and Xavier Woods. I don't know why they just don't combine them belts now. You know, and just have an undisputed tag team. You know, and have one tag team championship or one tag team champions for both shows. They get to go on both shows, and if you lose the belts, whatever brand you were representing before you became champions, you go back on that brand, and whoever's the champion goes on both shows again. I don't know why they just don't do that, because nobody cares about the SmackDown tag team titles, currently held by the Street Profits, which was the weirdest thing they ever did with them. Street Profits go to SmackDown, Kofi and Xavier Woods go to Raw. Kofi and Xavier Woods were the SmackDown Tag Team Champions going to Raw. Street Profits were the Raw Tag Team Champions going to SmackDown. At that particular point, Raw Tag Team titles were going to SmackDown. SmackDown Tag Team titles were going to Raw. They did a swap over. It was the most ridiculous thing ever. Absolute. If it had been me at that point, I would have had the undisputed title match. I would have kept the belts on both of them, on both teams, and then had the match at Survivor Series and make an undisputed tag team title. That's what I would have done. And then whoever wins the belts goes on both shows, blah, blah, blah. And I would have probably put the Street Profits over on them. I would have probably done that. But that was the most ridiculous thing I have ever seen. Adam Pearce backstage with Kofi and Xavier Woods and Street Profits. You know, they're trading the titles. It's ridiculous. The most stupidest thing I've ever seen, but come on. But you knew it was going to happen. Something had to happen. I mean, Raw Tag Team titles on SmackDown and SmackDown Tag Team titles on Raw just didn't fit, if you know what I mean. So you knew something like that was going to happen. But I would have done it a different way, but WWE for you, I suppose. As well. And also, a little crazy way to end with the Fiend and Randy Orton. Fiend getting burnt to a crisp, which was crazy. Absolute crazy. Also, NXT kicking ass as well. Pat McAfee feuding with Adam Cole. The whole beef with him and Adam Cole, which was mad as well. And I give credit to Pat McAfee. He did his thing when he eventually fought Adam Cole. All of that led to War Games and Undisputed Ever. Still is kicking butt. And Kyle O'Reilly's been receiving a great push, just like he used to do back in just like they gave him back in, or gave him somewhat back in Ring of Honor. Kyle O'Reilly, NXT champion. It's interesting. Will they kick him out of the Undisputed Era? Because you know Adam Cole, but you know maybe they'll stick by him because he deserves an opportunity. I mean, all right, Adam Cole is the man. Whether whether he declines to be the leader of the Undisputed Era or not, we all know Adam Cole is the leader of the Undisputed Era. You know, and maybe him turning babyface. I did question him going babyface, but at the end of the day, Adam Cole's that good. He could do babyface. He could be a heel. Doesn't matter to him. He's one of them wrestlers who is just that good. He really is. And like I say, I've been watching Adam Cole well before WWE. I watched him when he was taking over, when he carried Ring of Honor on him. And I knew at that point he was going to be a big deal. And I said, and I was thinking to myself, don't be surprised if WWE come knocking on the door, and lo and behold. But he has been, you know, people make a big deal. Yes, there's WWE, NXT, whatever you want to call it, and AEW. AEW is the competition. But considering what happened to Brody Lee, you know, people, you know, there was a Brody Lee tribute show this past week, which I'll get to in a second. But Adam Cole was backstage at the AEW show. He was backstage at the AEW show. And people are making a big deal out of it, thinking that he probably get into trouble. Or, what's a WWE contracted wrestler doing at the AEW show? I'll tell you the reason why he's at the AEW show. Because his girlfriend works for AEW, Britt Baker. Yeah? Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, or BMD, or CMD, or OBE, or whatever the fuck she is. That's why he goes there. And probably because he has buddies there as well. And if he ever left WWE, he'd probably end up going there as well. But yeah, speaking of Brody Lee died in December. Unexpectedly too, I might add. They reckon it wasn't COVID. They reckon it was a lung condition. There was something wrong with his lung. Whether he knew about it, whether they knew about it or anything like that, I don't know. But very cool show. But the Brody Lee show, very cool show. What they did with Brody Lee and that and everything, given the TNT Championship. I don't know what they're going to do with that TNT title. Apparently it's been retired. At least that design's been retired. I've been told that they're bringing back a new design of it. They've retired that design and gave it to Brody's son. But apparently they're going to bring back a new championship as well, which in a way makes sense because coming up, is it this Wednesday? January 6th, it's scheduled to be, I believe it's scheduled to be Darby Allin versus Brian Cage for the TNT title as well. And now they've retired the TNT Championship, or this championship. What's that going to do if they don't bring another title in or don't do another design of it? They've retired the design of the belt, but maybe they're going to redo another one and bring another design back in. People are going to think, oh, now they've retired the TNT title now because of what happened with Brody and everything. They're going to bring in the FTW title, make the FTW title the replacement. No, I don't see that happening. ECW never made the FTW title part of their brand. It was unrecognized in ECW, and it's probably the same here in AEW as well. It's an unrecognized belt, just owned by Taz, pretty much, around the waist of Brian Cage. Yes, it's been defended. And it's cool that it has been defended. But I just don't see that being a major player or the replacement for the TNT title. Because at the end of the day, the reason why they made the TNT title to begin with is because they're on TNT to begin with. Because they're on TNT. So what do you make? The TNT title. And if you win the TNT championship, you're the face of the brand. I.e., that's why Darby Allin's there. And that's why he's been mentored by Sting as well, which is fucking phenomenal. The Sting's there. A lot of people are questioning him not to wrestle, hoping he doesn't wrestle in there. He's going to. I don't doubt he's not going to at all, because the reason why he left WWE to begin with is because he vouched for a match with The Undertaker, the cinematic match with The Undertaker, and Vince was having none of it. And he wanted to be around more often, like he's going to do in AEW, but he wanted to be around more often than having a Legends contract and being around once in a blue moon or once a while or anything like that. But Vince was having none of it. So he left. And then shows up at Winter is Coming, the AEW Dynamite special that they did, and you know what happened after that as well. Interfered in Taz's business, Team Taz's business, and I've got to admit, guys, I've got a bit sour on Team Taz. I really liked Team Taz and the way they were dealing with things and everything, but ever since that promo or the confrontation between Cody and Taz, well, Cody said something about his son, which Taz didn't take too kindly to. You know, why is he training with Cody and not you and all that stuff? And in Taz's words, he crossed the line. And then he choked him out and used the Kata Hajime, Taz mission, whatever you want to call it. Ever since then, and I don't see it as a bad thing, I guess, but ever since then, Team Taz has turned into a bunch of cowards, quite frankly. They're not a group faction that could dominate. When Taz came in, Taz came back and he was the manager, and he was the, you know, he wasn't just the manager, it was the ECW Taz. Not the guy who, in WWE, the guy who didn't give two flying fucks in ECW. If you don't believe me, go back and watch the ECW Brett on the network. It was Taz who didn't give a fuck. Okay? Taz who just didn't give a fuck. It was that kind of Taz. But he was a manager. He wasn't a wrestler. He was a manager, which was great. And I loved it. I loved that. Because that's what he should have been wrestling-wise in WWE. But he wasn't. I don't know what the hell he was in WWE. I think he was that to begin with, but they kind of changed his character a little bit in WWE, which pretty much killed him, really. But yeah, they brought him back, and he was there and as well, and he brought Brian Cage into it. I think Brian Cage was his first recruit. And then Ricky Starks, who was the NWA television champion, he brought him in. He came to AEW and brought him in as well, and then this Hobbs character, and Harper, I believe, Harper is his name. I don't know who the other one is, but Hobbs came in, this big monster powerlifting guy, just great. And then but now they've turned into a bunch of cowards, and I don't like that. I would have had them being dominant. You know, they were going to come out and do the come out and attack Cody on a couple of occasions. Sting interfered. I would have had them go after Sting, and then maybe take the baseball bat beaten from him. But at least it shows them that they're not afraid. But now they've, you know, I don't know who's booking them or anything like that, but in my opinion, you've made them into a bunch of chicken shits. But and it's not good, man. I mean, like I say, I liked the way you were dealing with Taz with the, you know, because like I say, it was the ECW Taz. It wasn't the WWE Taz. It was the ECW Taz. But he wasn't the wrestler. He's a manager, and you know. But at the end of the day, it was still the ECW Taz. You know, now I don't know what you've turned him into, but it's not good. In my opinion, it's not good. Hopefully that will change. But yeah, Sting didn't want to be an afterthought. And to be fair, they buried him from day one in WWE, no matter what people say and everything like that. And oh, it was nostalgia and everything. No. Day one when he wrestled, the first match he wrestled was Triple H at WrestleMania. He lost. And it's been downfall ever since. I think the only match he ever won, to my knowledge, was a tag match with John Cena. It was him, John Cena, against Seth Rollins and Big Show, if I remember correctly. That was the only match he had that he won. I don't remember winning him any more matches after that. And then he had the Seth Rollins match, which pretty much put him out of business for a bit. But apparently he's now back. And at the moment right now, even though there's talks about him wrestling again and having matches again and everything like that, at the moment right now he's Darby Allin's mentor. And that's perfect for Darby because, like he said when he came out and talked to Sting, when he talked to Cody and that, there's something really familiar about this place. And he pointed at Darby, because Darby was sitting in the crowd with the TNT title, but he was sitting in the crowd. Who used to do that before? Sting. Sting used to do that in WCW, Nitro. And Darby Allin's doing it here. You know, all right, Sting didn't walk around with a skateboard, but he walked around with a bat. You know, good things. Like I said, there's a lot of the old-timers, well, I'll say old-timers, all the old legends like Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, and people like that are managing here in AEW. Why not have Sting do it? You know, why not have Sting be a manager in AEW? With the face paint, coming out, watch Darby's back. Interesting thought as well. But yeah, that's the reason why. And also the merchandise as well and everything. And at the end of the day, I'm just glad Sting got away from WWE, to be honest with you, because he wasn't getting anything. And, you know, and like I said, WWE weren't going to use him the way AEW's planned to use him. But, yeah, it is what it is. But, yeah, WWE, AEW, credit to you all. Credit to you guys for keeping the flow going and keeping the wrestling going during this pandemic and everything. It's been a crazy year, but you guys have definitely kept it going. Also, I want to give credit to the WWE Network as well, and give credit to ICW, Insane Championship Wrestling. Apparently, they are back. They had to take a hiatus due to COVID. They've had to take a hiatus, and now they're on the network. Because I've been watching WWE, ICW stuff on the WWE Network as well. The Fight Club. Is it Fight Club? Yes. There's been some new episodes of the Fight Club on there as well, and still up there now. I haven't watched the newest one, if there is a newest one up there yet. Apparently there was. So, yeah, get yourself on the network, guys. You can watch ICW on the network, or you can go to their on-demand service and get yourself a free trial if you're new, or cough up a couple of bucks and go and watch some good shit. Because ICW is the shit. It really is. It's probably the #1 brand in England, in the UK, as far as the UK scene goes. And they're doing good, man. They really are doing good. And hopefully they'll be bouncing back this year as well. Just like all wrestling should be as well. A lot of stuff that's, like I said, I think the only two wrestling promotions that have been around are New Japan. Credit to New Japan as well. WWE and AEW. Those are the wrestling brands that have been around. And Impact as well. Impact's done their thing as well. And credit to Impact as well. And, you know, Impact Wrestling now and AEW now partnership. You know, Kenny Omega winning the world title and beating Moxley and everything. Don Callis, who's an executive of Impact Wrestling, costing Moxley the title. And Kenny Omega is now the champion, which I don't know how long that's going to last, but apparently since Kenny Omega is scheduled to be, since they're going to put Kenny Omega headlining Impact Wrestling pay-per-views as well, starting January 16th with Hard to Kill as well, which, to be fair, is a good name for the pay-per-view because Impact Wrestling have been hard to kill, to be honest with you. They've been on life support, but credit to Scott D'Amore, credit to Don Callis, and whoever else is behind the scenes there at Impact. They've kept the flow going, and they've reverted back to what they were about, and that was the wrestling, not the bullshit politics crap that they had, which almost cost them to begin with. You know, you've gone back to the wrestling and everything, which is tremendous. But yet, Hard to Kill, it's a sort of a reformation of the Bullet Club. You know, Kenny Omega and Gallows and Anderson taking on Motor City Machine Guns and Rich Swann, who Rich Swann is the Impact World Champion. We'll see what happens. That's all I can say. See what happens. Kenny Omega is the AEW champion. Maybe we'll see some Impact Wrestling wrestlers as part of AEW on their pay-per-views this year. We'll find out. Or maybe on their special shows. Time will tell. We'll see what happens. But I'm glad. One thing is for sure as well. By the way, Ethan Page is no longer in Impact Wrestling as well. His contract's run out. So the North is no more, I guess. But what I like is the fact now that Anderson and Gallows are now the tag team champions. They're getting some good recognition in Impact Wrestling. I don't know why they didn't go to AEW, to be honest with you, but in Impact Wrestling now they are the tag team champions. They are the Impact tag team champions, and at least they're getting some recognition that WWE didn't give them, because WWE did not use them to their full potential. The last time they were in WWE, or the last thing they did was in WWE, which was the Boneyard match, which stole the show at WrestleMania because they were helping AJ beat up The Undertaker, which never went to anything. But now they've gone away and they've got recognition now, and they're getting the thing. They're doing the thing in Impact Wrestling, and I'm glad because they deserve better in WWE. I don't know why they didn't go to NXT. I'd have stuck them in NXT. let Triple H deal with them or anything like that. But that's the thing, though. People don't, Vince is Vince. Let's just say that right now. I mean, if it had been me, I'd have had them dominating WWE as the tag team. As the tag team to watch and maybe have a good long run with the tag belts and everything like that. But like I said, they have no tag team belts really, have they? They've got the Raw and SmackDown belts. But come on. It's time for a change in that respect, definitely. But yeah, credit to AEW, credit to WWE, credit to New Japan as well. They've done some good stuff as well in New Japan. And all the credit in the world for them keeping it all going as well. Shout out to and don't not forget Ring of Honor as well. Ring of Honor's done some good stuff as well, and the NWA is back with this new show that they've got on YouTube as well. Nick Aldis is still the NWA champion, although he's had some good matches on this show as well. And then the Serena, who used to be in the Straight Edge Society in WWE, with Luke Gallows at the time and CM Punk. She had her head shaved and everything, and Triple H called her Britney Spears. She's now the NWA Women's Champion, at least last time I checked, and it showed on the show that was on YouTube, on the NWA YouTube channel. It showed her winning the title, which was tremendous as well from Thunder Rosa. And quite frankly, Thunder Rosa should just sign for AEW. She really should. But yeah, it's good stuff, man. But I want the studio show back for NWA. But yeah, I could understand why they've gone with this show that they're doing now, is because it's pretty hard to do a show in front of no audience at the moment with the studio show and everything. But yeah, I really like the studio show, and I'd like to see that back. Whether it'll be back this year, who knows? As well, we'll find out. We'll definitely find out on that one. But yeah, all the credit in the world to the wrestling, and the wrestling has been good. There has been some moments to forget, no doubt. Definitely been some moments that I would rather forget myself, but at least we've had some wrestling. That was the shocking part for me. At least we've had some wrestling. SmackDown views have dropped, apparently. Comments on the death of John Huber. I'm just seeing if there's any... Oh, by the way, get well soon, Mick Foley. Apparently he's tested positive for COVID. Poor sod. The plans for Fiend and Orton, yes, with all the impact and everything, and the burning to a crisp. And by the way, it was a doll, ladies and gentlemen, they used. I want to know the plans. I actually do want to know. I'm glad I've got this up on the site here, because I want to know the plans for this, because apparently I think they're changing the gimmick again. So here's the deal. According to Ringside News, recently reported that the Fiend versus Orton gimmick match will be taking place at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. Meltzer's confirmed report and noted that idea is to have another Firefly Funhouse match. So the Firefly Funhouse match might take place between these two at the pay-per-view, Royal Rumble. And Sami Callihan has announced after midnight he will be staying with Impact Wrestling. So Mr. Callihan has just re-signed with Impact Wrestling for 2 years for big money. So I got other offers, but I don't give a damn. This is my company. I made this company, according to him. And I'm sure he played a big part in it. I'm sure he did play a big part in it as well. So, yeah, Sami Callihan stays with Impact Wrestling as well. But yes, guys, I'm back. I'm back at the moment. It's going to be on a weekly basis, the Wrestling Matters podcast. Like I said, there will be a video version, as you're seeing right now, if you're watching this on a video version right now with this mic in the way and everything. And there's going to be an audio version too. And both of them are going to be up on the Wrestling Matters Facebook page my Twitch that I'm on, twitch.tv/Gamesmatter_, and the YouTube channel as well, the Wrestling Matters YouTube channel. So it'll be on a weekly basis as well. So it'll be every Monday. You will get at least, you might get some bonus ones, who knows. But at the moment right now, we're back to Mondays. So yes, and hopefully, knock on wood, I might get some interviews as well. So I might do them as a separate show. If I get some interviews, I might do some interviews and take it from there, basically, with the interviews and that. And record the interviews and do them as a separate thing as well. So, see, if I do one show 1 week and I've got an interview and I'm going to bring the interview up, I will do that and maybe balance that down to allow me having some time off. I know who to go to for the interviews, so we'll see what happens on that one. As well, if you want to check me out on stream as well, yes, I do stream. All my links to my streaming sites on there if you want to come by and say hi and watch me make a complete ass of myself. And who knows, I might even record some of this stuff live on the Twitch channel as well. I might do a podcast on the Twitch channel as well, record it live as well. I might even do it on the YouTube channel as well. I might even thinking about doing some recording for the YouTube channel as well. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, I'll work it out down the road. But yes, guys, the Wrestling Matters podcast is back. This is the first show, the comeback show, if you will, the official comeback show, if you will. I will be doing an audio version of this, and I'll be doing the video version of this. You see the video version now. If you're watching this, there'll be an audio version as well. I'll put them both out. They're both coming out on Monday. So this one recording now will be out January 4th on the Wrestling Matters YouTube channel. I'll upload it to Twitch as well, and I'll upload it to my Wrestling Matters Facebook page, the Wrestling Matters Podcast Facebook page as well, and they'll both be on there, and you can take it from there, basically. So, thank you, guys. It's good to be back. It's took a while, but I'm back, guys. It's going to be on a weekly basis as well. All interviews, all fun, all me talking wrestling on a weekly basis as well. So, stay safe, guys. I know we're in this shitty pandemic. But stay safe, guys, and enjoy the rest of your week. And I'll be back next week, same time, with another podcast. Right here on the Wrestling Matters YouTube channel, the Twitch channel as well. Check it out on the Twitch channel and the Wrestling Matters Podcast Facebook page as well. Oh, the Facebook page. Did I say that right? Okay. Facebook page as well. So all the links to that, I'll put all that in the description box below. Stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your week, guys. Wrestling Matters, ladies and gentlemen. I'm back. Just when you thought you got rid of me. And just when you thought everything. Wrestling matters to me. It should matter to you. Jump on board, guys. Get out of my way if you don't want to be on board on this as well. I'm going to be as honest about the wrestling business as I can possibly be. Hopefully I'll get some guests on, and that's the aim as well. But until then, guys, I'll sort it all out. I'll see you next time on the Wrestling Matters podcast. Wrestling Matters, ladies and gentlemen.